All right, first of all, thanks for the fans, the students, boosters, supporters, everybody to come out on a Thursday night. Definitely felt the energy late. And, just to put this out there for the students, as you guys get word of this, just come, all right? I'm hearing the things about trying to figure out student tickets. Those are called winning problems, all right? What do we got to do to get in? How do we got to – just come, and we'll figure it out. But this is the first time since I've been here. We're trying to figure out, students are making these requests during the week and all that stuff. We need you. We need you Saturday at 4. We can't take any games for granted, and we obviously need you here the rest of the year. So with that, just, proud of this group. I've told them for 2 months, it's everybody counted us out. And, we had to go up on the road 3 times in a row, to the top of the league. And the top of the league, all 3 of them just had to do it once. And I told them, I said, this thing's going to balance out. And you just got to stay with it. We got to keep getting better. And we just got to take the schedule as it comes. But we just got to keep improving. And, man, have we. I mean, just to watch that game tonight, what a fight. I mean, both those teams played their absolute hearts out. And Greensboro battled, we battled. It was a war for every ball. It was a war for every pass. I mean, it was both sides played like, that's a championship level basketball game right there. And we were fortunate enough to make the plays down the stretch and, to battle through some adversity late, down 6 with about 8 to go. And got the stops we needed, got out in transition, started making some shots from the edges. And then did what we had to do. I thought we had a clean finish, down in those last 4 minutes with the lead. So could go on and on, but, just would obviously be here all night. Just proud in a lot of ways. I think this group's physicality and toughness has been questioned by a couple people. And I think what they're showing is that we can be tough and physical. And you don't hold teams that are that good offensively under 60 without being physical and tough. Okay, and that's 2 teams in the top of the league that we've held, one at 61, one at 57, and we've led with our defense. It certainly was not our offense. All right, not tonight. But this group continues to respond. They're embracing that. They're embracing kind of, this is who we are. We got to kind of fight back from the pack, and just couldn't be more proud of their resolve right now.
Tonight, was it a situation where, you basically shut down the team's best sharpshooter again. Does playing that way on defense start with that number 1 shooter first, and then you kind of go down the line? Because it's not a coincidence, I don't think. Every time we look at the box score lately, the other team's best shooters got 10 points or less.
Yeah, I think anytime you put a game plan together, you start with trying to figure out how to limit their best players and how to try to disrupt some of the best things they do. And, anytime we're formulating a game plan, that's where it starts. And, he had 16 up there at their place. They hit 11 threes on us. And so we knew we had to do a better job with our 3-point defense, which is something we're usually pretty good at. And, we identified a few ways that we thought we were getting those, that they were getting those and getting those looks and getting those clean looks, and how we were going to try to take some of those away. And, he's a heck of a player. He's got great size. He can really, really shoot it. You can't let him get going from 3. And so we had to do a few things, adjust in terms of the first way that we guarded some of their main actions. And for the most part, I thought our guys did a great job of that.
What did you do differently against Isaiah Miller? He had 25, I think, up there against you guys. And you guys, I don't have a stat sheet with me, but he didn't score till late, I don't think.
Isaiah is a really, really good player. He's one of the best young guards in the league. And, it's funny, he and Steven Crooner from the same high school, and they play very similar. And when you allow players with that type of speed and then his strength to get out in transition, it gets the rest of their game going. And where their transition starts usually is off the turnovers they create. And they're one of the best teams. They are the best team in the league at creating turnovers. They're one of the best teams in the country of not turning the ball over. So right there, they're getting more possessions than you right off the jump. And one of the big keys tonight is we actually forced them into 17 turnovers, and then we only gave it up 13 times. And we gave them 26 points off of turnovers at their place. And so that got him going. And then also he hit 4 threes up there, and 2 of them off of offensive rebounds, 2 of them off of broken plays. And so we had to do a much better job of making sure he's a guy. Again, it's funny how similar he and Steven are. They're both very, very talented. They can score it in bunches. You've just got to make sure that you don't let them just get going in their transition. And when he starts scoring there late, where was it? It was in transition. He's going to play. He plays extremely hard on the defensive end. He gets his hands on a lot of balls. He's really active, and then he causes havoc, and then they turn him into points.
Down the stretch, it seemed like your guys really seemed to dominate a bit more on the boards than maybe earlier in the game. Was there some strategy to that, or just effort?
Well, it was intentionality and just understanding that, hey, if we've got to close this cleanly, and the way we close this cleanly is we got to be phenomenal in transition defense. We've got to make sure we finish the possession, and then when we get the ball, we got to make sure we take care of it. We can't have any bad atomic bomb turnovers. We had the one where Alex got trapped right there, but it was just something we kept emphasizing in timeouts. We made sure that we had more size on the court late. It really helped us that Jalen Slauson played the way he did tonight. I mean, what gold those minutes were, and the amount of deflections he had and a couple steals, and he brought some very good intensity at the 4 spot, which allows us to keep Clay, Noah, and Matt out there. You throw in Slauson, I mean, you've got some good length, and so instead of us having to necessarily take Noah out and move Clay down and then go to more traditional 3 guards, we were able to take Noah out, put Slauson in, keep Clay in. That allows us to stay a little bit bigger, because that was a huge emphasis at halftime. We were at about 55% defensive rebounding percentage, which doesn't get it done, and we knew we were going to have to clean that aspect of the game up.
It's funny because this is probably your least productive day bench-wise, but like you said, there's 2 or 3 minutes that Slauson came in there, got a big rebound. I remember on one end particularly. It can still make a difference, even if it's not like the best night for the bench in general.
Yeah, it's listen, those 5 minutes that Slauson gave us, I mean, he had 3 rebounds in 5 minutes, and then he had a steal. I mean, let's think about it, right? You look down on the sheet and you're like, all right, he only played 5 minutes. Well, that game turned in about 2.5 minutes, right? And so when you're playing big-time teams and you're playing championship-level basketball, games can sway in a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So when a guy gets an opportunity to go out there and impact a game, and he has to watch 35 minutes, but he has the mentality to go out there and play that hard in those 5 minutes, it shows you, right? It shows you how this culture and these players have impacted him to understand that, hey, I don't have time to go warm up, right? I got to go out there and go. And Jalen Slauson is a big time athlete, and he's got great instincts, and the steal he got right there, I mean, he just poked it, right? And he gets out there and he can show on ball screens. He's got great recovery. He's got great anticipation to block shots. When he gets it completely and can play longer, more consistently, and figures out how to. His game's just going to go up. I mean, his game is going to take off, and he's going to be the next one that, hey, 5, 6, 7 minute roll this year, and then next year you're like, wow, look how much he's out there. He's got a very, very bright future here.
Talk about, there was a transition in the game. They go by 6, I think 42 to 36 when Alonzo hits a 3. You call a timeout. Matt Rafferty scores 7 straight points over the next 2 minutes. Just talk about. Is there something you did differently there, or is it just you exploited a matchup, or what was the difference there?
Quit giving the ball to them. I mean, we ignited that run for them with our turnovers and, just poor execution. And that's what they're good at. That's their strength. And so call a timeout, take care of the ball, don't throw it to them, and let's make sure we execute. And they did a great job pressuring us. They didn't think we were going to be able to put it on the bounce and make the plays that we needed to make. And so they got out in the passing lanes and they really extended their defense and really put pressure on the ball. And so late there, it opened up some space for our guys to drive. And, it also opened up some space in that stretch and that timeout too when they went up 6. I mean, it was probably 4, 5, 6 trips that Matt didn't touch it. So take care of the basketball. Let's make sure our big fella gets it, all right, and let's play off of it. Understand that they're extended, they're spaced, they've got the floor spaced out, and let's make sure we're good cutters and let's value the ball. And I thought we did that. I thought we did that from that point forward, and played a much cleaner game from that timeout.
I think you had lost 4 in a row to these guys coming into the night. Is there any value in terms of confidence or whatever to finally kind of get over that hump and break that?
I think so. We talked about that a little bit going into the week. We had lost 4 or 5 to ETSU going back 2 years ago, and then we had lost 4 in a row to Greensboro going into this game tonight. And we more or less just talked about the fact that has no bearing on what happens in this game here. And this is the best we've ever guarded. I mean, analytically, I mean, in the mid-30s in the country. And if we can keep doing that, that you can't compare games to games, right? We didn't just call it what it is. We didn't guard very well up there, and they guarded very well. And so, that's something with players and social media and information. A lot of times people get into that. Hey, here's the streak, and they got our number, and you got to really kind of narrow and simplify and get them to focus on this game plan, this task. And I thought they did that. I didn't think, look, watch them warm up, right? Greensboro's big, they're long. I mean, they look good now, and they're very well coached. Wes does a great job. They're very well schooled on both sides of the ball. And if you're going to beat them, you got to play really, really well, and you got to play tough, and you got to play physical. And I thought we stuck to the game plan. I thought we did a great job. I know I've said it a few times, but just to turn it over 13 times against them was huge. And for us also to lose the battle on the boards by 2, I think 38-36. I think it's safe to say that we survived the backboards. We're sitting here a year ago at home, and they had smacked us by 20 on the glass. And so it's one of those things where, again, you think the game plan is broad and spread out, and sometimes you got to really narrow and simplify on the fundamental things you got to do to have success in these games.
I understand we got work left to do in the regular season before the tournament. This game really kind of reminded me of the Mercer game when they went to the final and so in the tournament, semifinal game where it was just kind of like a dogfight. And the way they were, everything's predicated on defense. I know during this streak, but the way you scored 91 points last time you win, you score 67 points tonight you win. You're going to have games like that, like multiple games in the tournament. So you're just building that confidence to win different styles of ways, right?
Championship teams, usually they're going to be complete. They're going to be able to beat you in a number of different ways. And if you're just going to hang your hat on one thing and a team takes that one thing away, then it's probably not going to be your night, right? And for us, you got to be complete. You've got to make sure you stick to identity on the defensive end of the floor and the offensive end of the floor. And different teams are going to guard you different ways, but you got to focus on the things you control. And what we control is usually how hard we're going to go out there and play, what our competitive spirit is going to be like, and then on the offensive end, are we going to stick to spacing and moving and working for each other to get shots, right? Or are we going to go try to do it ourselves? And, some nights you're going to hit a bunch of shots like we did Saturday, and then some nights like tonight you're not, right? But you got to figure out ways to win, and that's the biggest takeaway from tonight. Like in a big time college basketball game, when we're not necessarily making shots, and then really, to be honest with you, we're having to work for everything, right? That we didn't let that wear us out. We endured it and we stuck with it, and I just thought that our spirit was so good during some of that adversity. And look, that's what it comes down to. I mean, we get all caught up in schematics. But this is a mental game, and when you're playing against really good teams, things aren't going to come easy, and you're going to have to make them miss. They're going to try to make you miss, and you got to stick to what you're good at, and you got to try to endure for 40 minutes.
Is that the first time you've won a game where 3 guys scored the first 33 minutes?
Is that what it was?
I think early scored about 7 minutes.
Yeah, and also at halftime we only had 3 that had rebounds, so we had to get some of that fixed, but I don't know. You just go down the line. I mean, you talk about that, right? And I get it. It's a valid point. But do we win without Alex and Noah's plays down the stretch? So again, going to a championship caliber team, don't do much, quote unquote, on the stat sheet for 33 minutes, but they stay engaged enough to make some big time, high level plays down the stretch. And, I'm sitting here thinking Noah's 3, Noah's offensive rebound, the 2 finishes that Alex had, some of the plays that he had. You got to stay mentally engaged. And I think that's the key tonight. This group stayed mentally engaged and gave themselves a opportunity to be able to run through the tape and finish.
At the beginning of the season, you talked about this team being a little bit different in its makeup than, say, the one last year. You've got length now that you probably didn't have before. Talk about Gurley's play, I guess, over the last 3 or 4 games. He's blocking a lot of shots. Is that something you have to learn to use as a player, and how is he using that now to his advantage, where maybe he was just learning at the beginning of the season?
You know what? We talked about that in January, when people start kind of writing us off because we lost those 3 on the road, that we had a bunch of room for improvement. And the reason is because we've got so many more guys that haven't gone through this before. And there is something to be said for experience. When you've got Noah didn't play any last year. Trey Clark didn't play any last year. Mike Bothwell didn't play any last year. Jalen Slauson didn't play any last year. Clay played 7 minutes a game. Alex played 10 minutes a game, right? I mean, those guys are going to get better. And when they stick with it and they start to learn their assignments, the game's fast. You got to deal as a post player, ball screen coverage, post D coverage. You got to deal all the off the ball screening coverage. You've got rotations. You've got transition D. It just takes some time, and the guy's a freshman. He's never played before. He's never been through the grind before. And what we're seeing is a player emerge right before our eyes. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing a high-level player emerge right before us and turn into a complete guy. And let me tell you, he's just going to get better. I mean, the boy's just going to get better. And he's becoming a really, really impactful player on the defensive end. He's letting that feed his offense. And, you can move him all over the place. And, the other fun thing about Noah is, we've had to limit Matt in practice some, and we put him at the 5 a good bit in practice. And it's a different type of deal, but he's effective down there too. And so we're excited about his future. We're excited about a lot of these guys' futures. And when these guys come in here and they're willing to work while they wait, their time comes and they're ready for their payday.